All right, so welcome to our next session for the Interactive Media Career Exploration. I took a little roll call already for the folks that are here. And really today, I wanted to go over a couple of things, a couple of tools that'll help us to get to the next level in terms of what we're trying to build, the projects that you guys have, that kind of thing. So the two things I wanted to go through today are, we're going to do an hour of code. So we're going to do code.org. We're going to go through the Star Wars presentation, sort of how to do that. And hopefully it'll get you guys thinking about how do you set something up, right? How do you code? How do you, because a lot of this stuff is immersive, right? The difference between traditional production and immersive media is going to be, you know, the coding, the software aspect, the idea of how do you immerse somebody in it? How do you get together with technology? So I wanted to at least walk through and you guys, so in this one, I want you guys all go to the URL, code.org/Star Wars, and you can sort of walk through it with me because ultimately all of you guys will have the example ability to sort of drag and drop piece of code, but I want to sort of take a look at what you guys are able to do based on the lesson that we're able to pull together there. After that, I want to go to talk a little bit about scripting and storyboarding. So there's a software, and just had this conversation with Terry, Studio Binder, and we'll go through some of the things within this project Studio Binder that allows us to figure out a project, right? It gives you a workflow, production calendar, breakdown, shooting schedule, shot list, storyboards, reports, call sheets, all of the things that you would need to do in order to complete a project. So those are hopefully the two things that'll get us to the next step. Being that, you know, next we're going to figure out then how do we sort of try to bring this to life, right? How do we get some assets shot? How do we come back? I mean, you know, part of me is thinking next week would be a good time to try to start to pull together assets, right? Just have you guys really use that time, even next week or between that, to start to generate assets. Because really the next piece of this is how you put those assets together. So without further ado, we will, I want to play a little piece here just to get an idea. And you guys see coding was.
My name is Stephen Curry, and I play point guard for the Golden State Warriors. The value in learning computer science is pretty evident, just you know how important tech is in our world.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Stephen, okay.
We have the flavor fruit salad here.
Flavor fruit salad, okay.
Could anyone do fruit?
Just touch the fruit?
Yes.
Is it anyone?
I mean, the opportunities are endless for somebody who's getting into computer science because that's their job that's in high demand right now.
Yeah.
If you want to create and you want to be a visionary and type, you're probably going to be in the tech space trying to do that.
There it is.
It's extremely important to have perseverance when you're learning new skills because anything that's worth doing usually doesn't come easy, and knowing that in the end it will pay off.
Oh, that's it right there. I'm an amateur coder.
It's a cool experience to kind of get in front of the computer and test my skills a little bit.
No way. Did I just code a line? Come on, dinosaur. Thank you.
Go beyond the hour of code. Pledge to bring computer science to your school.
So give you a little bit of an idea of how important this is becoming and the rest. And so I wanted to walk through now. So the blocks, this is going to break down code into blocks of instructions that you can use to build something. So here's your intro.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Kennedy, and I'm the producer of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Today, you'll be working with one of our stars, BB-8. BB-8 is a spherical droid. Everything he does and every movement he makes is controlled by computer software. Computer science impacts every industry, from marketing to healthcare to film. In fact, hundreds of computer engineers work together to make a film like The Force Awakens.
Hi, I'm Rachel Rose. I'm a senior R&D engineer at ILM, and I lead the animation and creature development team. In The Force Awakens, I'm responsible for helping the artists develop rigs, which are the parts of the character that move, that allow the character to look very believable in a galaxy far, far away.
When we talked about rigging for
in the
animated
next hour,
characters?
we're going to build our own Star Wars game that will teach you the basic concepts of programming. Usually programming is all text, but we're going to use blocks here so that we can drag and drop to write the programs. To start off, we're going to work with Ray to program BB-8 to walk to collect all of the scrap parts. Your screen is split into 3 parts. On the left is the Star Wars game space where code will run. The instructions for each level are written below the game space. This middle area is the toolbox, and each of these blocks is a command that BB-8 can understand. The white space on the right is called the workspace, and this is where we're going to build our program. If I drag the move left block to our workspace and press run, what happens? BB-8 moves left 1 block on the grid. And what if I want BB-8 to do something after the move left block? I can add another block to our program. I'm going to choose the move up block, and I'll drag it underneath my move left block until the highlight appears, and then I'll drop it, and the 2 blocks will snap together. When I press run again, BB-8 will perform the commands that are stacked from top to bottom on our workspace. If you ever want to delete a block, just remove it from the stack and drag it back into the toolbox. After you hit run, you can always hit the reset button to get BB-8 back to the start. Now, let's get rolling.
All right, so you guys got an idea of what we're going to do as an exercise. Okay. So are you guys all on the? Oh, can you get on? Are you down to get online? You guys should be logged into code.org/Star Wars.
Who else isn't online?
You guys all online?
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay.
Hey, so let you know that I'm not going to be here too long.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
You're welcome.
So you're in code.org/Star Wars. You picked the top button that is use blocks and try now with blocks. We get past the video, and now we're in the first section that says, we need scrap metal. BB-8 can get it. That's your command. So that's what we're going to try. Yes?
So I just barely got on about saying what one we clicked on.
So once you get to code.org, it says Star Wars, you show?
Yeah. Oh, try now.
Blocks.
Yep, try now with blocks. And then you go past the video. You can skip the video, and you should all be on the screen now that says, we need that scrap metal, BB-8, can you get it?
Yep.
Got it? Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So we're going to click OK. And in order to get scrap metal, add a second move command to your code, and then click run it. So if that's the extra scrap metal, then we add a second move command that would say he's going to move right and then move up. And then so that wasn't right. So we're trying again to get the scrap metal. And I think maybe we have to move up twice. Nope.
Move right. Twice.
So it's move right, move right?
Yeah.
Well then, hey.
I know.
See, you're coding already. Move right, move right.
Let's just try to figure out which one.
That's good. All right. So can you get all the metal in this area? So what's the command? We're gonna move right. What's gonna come after move right?
Then down.
Down, two down.
So
Two move rights and two move downs.
okay, so 2 move rights, 2 move downs.
This is sort of fun.
There you go. All right. So go quickly. Oh, okay. So we have, so what's the next command? We're move right and then what?
Move right,
Up.
down.
And then down, and then right.
Move right down, or it's move right, move up, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Move right, move up, then
Down.
move down, move right again, right? Well, let's try this. Let's start the part so far. Okay. So what's our next command?
Right.
There you go. So let's try it out here. Lock it in. Right, up, right. There you go. All right. So now we got to watch out for the bad guy. So how are we going to write this one? Move down. What's after that? Move down, move left. Okay.
Move left,
Move left.
down.
Move down.
Down.
And down again. Let's try. See how far we get.
And then you have to go
Then go, what's the last command?
left, left.
Got it. Okay. So move down, left, left, down, down, left.
Up to you, baby.
All right. A little bit harder. So what do you got? Move right. What's next? Move right, move what?
Down. Using down.
So right and down. So move right, move down. Now what else do we have?
You have to go down more.
Okay. What else?
3 downs.
3 downs.
Left.
There you go. Now, by the way, before we go next here, take a look right here. So, oh wow, this is new, and I'll show you in a minute. So what do you need to do here?
Oh no, you have to go down twice.
Go up? Down twice?
That's not how you want to do it.
I know it's
Down
different solutions.
twice.
So you guys might all find a different way to go. Somebody else give me a way to go.
Okay, move up. No, never mind.
Sure?
Go up, down, and back up.
Okay.
Right.
So down, down. So down twice.
Right,
Then you said up?
Yeah.
Okay, down, down, up.
Then right.
Then right,
right, right. Oh no, you gotta go up.
right, up, up.
Yeah.
So down, down, up, right,
Down.
up,
Right.
down. Now what?
Right.
Now right. Getting a little more complex, right? Now, real quick, I want you guys to see so this is blocks, right? This is the code that actually writes that in JavaScript. So we're using blocks instead of using this. But what you're saying, move down, BB8, semicolon. The semicolon breaks apart the instructions, right? So every instruction was a line of code that just said move with the circle with the semicolon that tells you the next instruction. So let's see how we got it. Uh-oh. Aha. So what did we miss?
Okay.
You missed going up.
No, I tried to go up. It's a down, down, and up, right? Down, down, up, right.
And up.
So where's our mistake in the code? I'll run it again and find the mistake in the code. Up, right. Where's the mistake in the code?
Oh, I gotta go right.
Right again.
Okay.
Two rights.
Right.
So 2 rights?
Yeah, 2 more rights.
Yeah, so right, then up, then down, then what? What's the last one?
Right.
No, 3 rights.
Right? Is it 3 right?
No. Like, total of 3 rights. No, put the right in between the rights.
Can we do another one?
Yeah.
Let's try it. Let's try that one. Let's see. Oh, almost. So which one do we check? What do we change?
Change up to
Take the right. Yeah.
Take that?
no.
So if we
No,
do
no. You keep 3 rights.
keep 3 rights,
Yeah. Just replace up with left.
there's up with left,
And then put up again.
this up,
That's the long way around.
and then is there right or not? No? Take that. All right. Remember, there's always more than one way to solve a problem. There you go. Right? So that's a solution. There were other solutions, but the key is in code, right? You can write the code to get to the end result, and there's no right way as long as you find the objective, right? That's the goal. So let's continue again real quick.
Well, hello, my name is Sharita Carter. I am a senior creative producer here at Walt Disney Immersive. I'm responsible for leading teams that actually produce the attractions that our guests get to experience. So we are always looking for ways that we can improve and make a better experience for our guests, and technology is at the heart of that. Congratulations, you did it. You programmed BB-8. Now I think we're ready for something harder. Let's go for it. Now that you've learned the basics of programming, we're going to go back in time to build your own game, starring R2-D2 and C-3PO. To make a game, we need to learn about something that game programmers use every day. They're called events. Events tell your program to listen or wait for when something happens. And then when it does, it performs an action. Some examples of events are listening for a mouse click, an arrow button, or a tap on the screen. Here, we're going to make R2-D2 move up to deliver a message to a Rebel pilot, and then move down to the other Rebel pilot. We'll use events to make him move when the player uses the up-down arrow keys or the up-down buttons. We use the when up event block and attach the go up block to it. When the player presses the up arrow key, the code attached to the when up block is run. And we'll do the same thing to make R2-D2 move down. Now, instead of writing all of the code to control our droid in advance, we can let R2-D2 react to button press events that move him around the screen. Step by step, your game is getting more interactive.
So do you guys get that? So basically by using events, it gives you ways to control actions. So like in Stephanie's running game, you could say run. So R2-D2 gets the Rebel pilots, make them run. So place the go up block. And then the go down block.
I have to go now.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
You can stay longer,
Oh, I understand. Well, and look, all you guys can take a look at this at home to finish that last hour code. So,
I was surprised you had to hold down the button though.
so that was the idea of using the control buttons rather than each individual movement, right? So what you programmed in this case was you programmed the buttons. We didn't program the movement on the screen, we programmed the buttons, right? So just to reset here, so this code says, see, I can, but if I hold it down, so every time I'm holding, so that says, when I'm using that button, here's what you do. So on the event of using the button, that's when the action occurs. And it occurs for as long as you press the button. So you notice as I was stopping, he would stop.
Exactly.
So it's all, you just move the control from R2D2 to the buttons. All right, so now if we need to get all of these, what do we need?
They make it pretty easy though, because
Right, so you say up to up, down to down, left to left,
oh, this is funny when you can't go right.
and right to right. Right?
Right to go all the way down.
So this is what we did was just programmed all these buttons to work so that now I have every kind of functionality and I can do whatever I want to go through this course however I want, because we just programmed the buttons to control R2D2. Make sense? So you went from programming 2 buttons just up down to programming 4 buttons to make, and if you think about it, most kind of games you play have those basic controls, right? So it's your game, choose the sounds now, try to drop down to pick a different sound. So when a goal is touched, let's try number 2. And let's also add, I like 1,000 points. So now, the other button's already programmed, right? So now, right? See, as the game is happening now, I got a score. I'm able to control them. I'm able to get score. Right? So all of a sudden, in a matter of how long? We've been doing this for 20 minutes. Program like your basic games, that you see. And they started with the images, right? The hard part was the landscape, the images, but like in VR, if you have a 3D object, you drop it into VR, then you have code to say, well, what do you want to do with that object? How do you want to make it work? So that's why I want you guys to sort of draw those similarities. So watch out for Stormtroopers, add 100 points when R2D2 gets a Rebel pilot, remove 100 when he gets a Stormtrooper, get 200 points to pass the puzzle. You can use the Minoc to make it easier. So what's my first connection? It says add 100 points when R2D2 gets a Rebel pilot. So what's my first line of code?
When you get a Rebel pilot.
Okay, when you get Rebel pilot, do what?
Add 100.
Add 100, okay. What's the next thing?
Oh my God, this is way harder. They move a lot faster.
Stormtrooper.
Okay,
Yeah.
when you get the Stormtrooper, then what do we do? What happens if you get the Stormtrooper?
You remove point.
Okay, remove 100 points. Okay,
God, I'm losing.
now when you get the Minoc, what?
Just play a random song.
Okay, let's try.
Oh my God, this is hilarious.
And I'll do just random. We'll leave it as random. All right, let's try.
Oh, you can use the Minoc to add points.
Oh yeah,
Because otherwise you lose. It's much more difficult.
right. I'm definitely not winning here. But you can see all of a sudden we have action, right? I mean, we have this stuff going on. This is a game, right?
Let's see, now you're screwed.
You need 200 points to pass the puzzle. Oh man! So try adding more points to that point block, right?
Oh my God,
So now if you do this at 300, but you only reduce 100, and then when you get to okay, instead of playing a random song, when you get to the minor, what might you do?
I added 300 points because I was so.
Oh, cool. All right. So let's do that. Let's do 300 points on the Minot, 100 points on the Rebel Pilot. Reset.
There we go. Now it's much easier.
Right. Easier to win, right? You won?
It was hard though. This was not.
Anybody else win? You got it?
You have to get the flying thing. Because if you don't get that, you aren't going to win. But if you get that, you won.
Oh, so.
See?
All right. There you go. All right.
I wish coding was this easy though.
Well, it is, right?
No. Not when you have to type it all.
So it says add 3 puffer pigs to the planet. So put commands here and have them run when the program starts. So what do you need to do to add 3 puffer pigs to the planet? What do you think?
Add 2 more, right?
Okay. That sounds pretty reasonable, right? All right. So we're going to add 3 puffer pigs to the planet, and then we're going to go get them. All right. Ready? And...
That was pretty easy.
There you go.
Better than the rest.
Only a few months to go. Okay, so it's up to you. When you get a tauntaun, make 2 or more Minocs appear. Get 8 Minocs. So it says when you get a tauntaun, says make 2 or more Minocs appear. So what do we have to do?
Add 2 or more.
Okay, add 8. You got to get 8. Sounds about right, right? So you think I should add 8 here? And by the way, I mean, this is drag and drop, right? But the one thing that you should be learning here is that repeated actions are just like stacking these blocks, right? So when you write code, if you do the same thing over and over again, these are just all the same, right? So really, if you think about how many instructions are here, we have when run, add a tauntaun in the same group of instructions here 4 times. We have when you get a tauntaun, play a tauntaun random sound, add 50 points, add a Minot, and then you repeated that one 7 more times. So for all of these instructions, maybe there's only 6 that really matter that you're stacking on top of each other in order to make something happen.
Oh my God, it's funny.
See, but it's good. Like when you make all those Minocs appear, then the chances of you getting them, that was great, right? So the idea of adding more Minocs made the game easier to complete. So this one, can you make 2 or more mouse droids appear every time R2-D2 gets 1 mouse droid? And you got to get 20. So it says 2 or more. So what do I have to do?
I'm adding 20.
You're adding 20?
Maybe 10. 10 was.
Well, it says every time R2 gets 1, right? So you're going to add 1, so you're adding more at the beginning? Or it says when you get 1.
When you get 1, I'm adding.
Then you're adding, right?
But maybe I should have took on for the 20.
That's probably a whole lot, right? So let's say we add 5. And we play a random set. And we...
Oh my God, they're really fast. You can't catch them. Just go for the 20.
and add 300 points. Anybody saw this one yet? Never thought you'd get to come to class and make a video game, right? All right.
This dude's hard to catch.
What's cool, so now every time though, so you notice in mine, I added a bunch. So every time I get one, I add a bunch more.
Yeah, but this guy's smarter because he won't stay in one place.
But see, when you add this many, they're gonna start running into you soon, right? You would hope. Look at how many there are now. So every time I did it, it just kept adding 5 more. And so eventually there's more of them on the screen than you on the screen. 2 less is left. So use new commands to change your droid and its speed, and then get the rebel pilots. So when you're running, you're gonna add the rebel pilots. So it says use new commands to change your droid and its speed. Then get the rebel pilot. So what do you think? So you want to change the droid. So how do you change the droid? What instruction in the blocks lets you change the droid? Okay, I know you saw find fast speed. We got to find out what's the thing that changes the droid. What's the command that does that? There you go. So set droid to and set droid to a fast speed, right? So we now have a command that says it's going to change the droid and it's going to set it to fast. Then you got to get the random rebel pilot, right? And when you get a rebel pilot, let's add some points and play a C3PO random sound. And I like lots of points. All right. So change the droid. Whoa, he's super quick. There he is. See, and it did all the random C3PO sounds and got the points. And then the last one, almost.
Hi, my name is Alice, and I run the product engineering teams here at code.org. And I worked on this tutorial that you're playing through right now. And you just made it to the last level. Congratulations. You just learned everything you need to know to make your own Star Wars game. Now, there are no more instructions, no puzzles to solve. You can make your own game, and you choose how it works. One more thing. You've unlocked new sounds and new commands to do even more.
So we made a game basically where you get points when you get puffer pigs. The twist is every time you get a puffer pig, a stormtrooper appears. Eventually the whole screen is full of puffer pigs. And then I think when you touch 10,000 of them, you get out. You can't lose, and everything you kill gives you points. So whenever you click up, your character goes down. Whenever you click right, your character goes left.
Oh, that's cool.
Sometimes you just get an advantage. You're an advantage when you're a developer of the game.
When you're done making your game, choose share. To get a link, you can share with friends or play your game on your phone. Have fun.
So cool. So I'll leave it to you guys to take the link, and you can go through and complete your own game when you get an opportunity. But I really wanted to walk through this exercise because now you have a canvas of all kinds of events, and you click on commands. Look at, and here's all your commands, and there's all your events. And so now this is your canvas to build a game. right? And so what I want you to think about is like, okay, if you're building an interactive experience, then you come up with maybe repeated movements and things that you would think about as blocks. So as you think about how you would build a game, come up with the concept, what are the things that you do that are repeated? That's the code, right? So the thing we need a developer for is ultimately that developer would get into Unity and they would do the equivalent of this for your experience, right? So, so use an example. So one, in your hiking game, you think about any of the things now that you might be able to use and you know, give me like what would a line of code be or an action be in that game that's repeated?
I probably do the sound effect whenever you go discover a new area.
There you go. Okay. So on new scene, play a sound effect. So as you think about a script, this is what you're going to be looking to lay out, right? You're going to say, okay, great. I've got 3 scenes. These are your scenes. And so those are your 3 blocks. Think about those as your 3 locations, right? So once you have your 3 locations, you have your enter scene here, and now enter scene here and play a sound. And maybe visual, not visual, right? And then every scene, you sort of think about scripting out or blocking out here. What's possible? And in your case, I'm not a free moving character. You're guiding me through the tour. So probably time-based, event-based, right? As you pass this thing, do that. I like Nadine, I know you were here last week, but I like, you know, your concept of gardening and the rest. And what we talked about is maybe trying to incorporate that into this nature walk. And so you could imagine, you might say, when you pass this point, display this information about what you're looking at, right? So that now becomes part of your script, right? So you're gonna say, and so what you need to think about is, you know, these locations, you like the trails. What would be great is to get the video and then maybe have an idea of say, hey, Nadine, if you look in this video, what can you identify in the video that you could pop up as data, right? And in each of those places, you may need to think about a shot that incorporates the images and stuff around you, right? So you might enter the shot at a more lush place so you could identify things, or walk to a place where there's something that you know of. Maybe you know that there's certain wildflowers in a certain area, and so you do that. Or you know that there's a certain trees or whatever it may be. And maybe that's part of the pre-production, is getting together and say, hey, these are the locations. Nadine, do you know what's endemic to these locations? So when we go shoot, you shoot with that in mind, that the script says you're going to open here. You want to have some places where you can display some data, right? Think about, okay, it might be good to have 3 or 4 things, right? Each segment maybe lasts X amount of time. So 3 segments that last 2 minutes apiece to give you 6 minutes. And then they enter here, close here. And in that 2 minutes, what do you walk through, right? And is it, you could make it the regular pace of walking. You could time lapse. I mean, it might be cool to do something that would take 20 minutes to hike in 2 minutes, right? So you're able to compress that, right? But with stops along the way, right? So if you compress that 20 minutes, you slow it down to a place like a stopping place. And, oh, by the way, this is a great waterfall, and this is the only place you can see XYZ plant. That's it. So again, all ideas of how you can use now coding to think about how you do your scripting, how you lay out the story, how those pieces come together. That makes sense? You guys got questions? Thoughts on that part? Cool. Then next, I'm going to go to this sort of studio binder real quick. Walk that. Also, I don't know if you saw when you came in, Johnny is setting up a shoot. And so I'd like to maybe get a little bit of time, right, when we break, maybe to have him talk about what he's doing and how he's doing. He's going to do a live stream and the rest. But in terms of understanding the ultimate end game for, say, June would love to know, like, okay, what's Johnny doing? He's shooting that, he's streaming that. What are his challenges, right? What's he doing to be able to stream that? Because ultimately, you guys need to figure out how to stream. And what would you want to stream from the event on June 1st? And what are your production needs? Same kind of thing goes into it, right? Pre-production, script, run of show. I'm starting here. Well, if you start here and you want to have interviews with people, what kind of camera rig do you need to set up in order to do your interviews different than shooting the event, right? And making sure all of your stuff's covered. Is the audio covered? Is the lighting covered? Is the camera covered? Do you need a host? Do you not need a host? Is there narration? Are there graphics? All those kind of things. So you guys get a chance to go to, I'm going to put this link here, Studio Binder. And you don't have to sign up now. I did it here. But I want to walk through a little bit of the elements here. First and foremost, this is like your production calendar, right? So the first thing is, hey, we need a production calendar, right? So I'm just going to call this Pablo Hiking Project. Okay. This is scripted narrative. So we're here in April on the 27th. So for now, one of the things you could think about is, okay, so what are you doing now? Now you're doing script writing, right? So let's take a new event. And put a week, right? And it actually drags here. And you can edit this event. So let's call it script and flow. And then you can have all the tasks associated with that. So you got script and flow, 8 days, right? So this starts to lay out, okay, great. What do I need, for these different pieces? You have an ability to get a shooting script, a script breakdown, budgeting. This goes through everything you might think about, but I think what's most important for us are things like the shot list and storyboarding, right? And so we do a shot list. Pablo hiking shot list. Great. 5 shots. So what's the first shot that you would go to, Pablo?
First one probably the abandoned LA Zoo.
Got it. All right. Shot type. So you notice it has all this different information. Like for us, this is going to be custom shot, right? Because we're going to do 360 video. And here, these are probably, the way I look at it is, these are all wide shots or full shots. I guess the way to look at it for us, it's a 360 shot. So it's a wide, full shot and a long shot, right? Because we're going to shoot going a particular path. And so what you need to think about is, what's the path that you need to travel to shoot in order to get what you want at the LA Zoo? Movement is tracking. right? Because we're going to be tracking as we go. Equipment. Going to definitely need, now would be cool to have a drone, right?
Yeah.
That might be, and again, these are all, possibilities. But certainly if not, you'll have the handheld, it'll be on probably on a gimbal. It's whatever the 360 camera is on the monopod.
Yeah.
That was the one I think we probably need to use for Johnny. And we get to talk to him about that. And then custom equipment, 360 video camera. Cool. And you can swap in and out, preview your script. So again, I think the key here is making sure that for the project, pre-production is the most important part of anything that you guys are going to do, right? The reason that we wanted to meet here, go through some of this, get the storyboards and the rest is because the money in production comes from assembling everybody and going out and getting the shot. And good producers know how to go in, get the shot most efficiently, work with a team. You got to sort of like the project that we did when we came to the class. You guys had only the class to get the shot and get it finished. And so, if you get to the abandoned LA Zoo and you got money to pay people for 3 hours and you say 3 hours, come that third hour, everybody's ready to roll, right? That was what we needed, right? And so you need to be tight and right to say, okay, great. When you show up, I need everybody to know the shot list, know what they're doing, send it out in advance. Everybody understands what they're up to, and hey, we're here. Let's go, right? Start with the shot. We know where we're opening. We all meet at the place where you're going to open for the first shot, right? Know where your last shot is going to be. Leave yourself maybe time. If you got to walk it, leave yourself time to do it twice, 3 takes. What does that look like, right? Do a take from one angle to this way and one from that way, right? So shoot this way and that way might be efficient, as opposed to saying, well, I want to shoot it only going this way. Shoot it this way and shoot it on the way back. And that way you have at least the time for that to be taken care of. But more importantly, you have your shooting schedule that you have to then add a scene, order them in the way that it needs to get done for the project, right? So the shooting schedule might be, we're going to go to the abandoned LA Zoo first. The second one is
Stony Point Edge.
Stony Point Edge. All right. Stony Point Edge. And then what's your third shot?
Vasquez Rocks.
What's it called?
Vasquez Rocks.
Vasquez Rocks. Perfect. Cool. So we have these 3 shots set. You'd set your equipment, get your flow, and now you've got the basics. And then you got task cards, right? So we have tasks that may need to be accomplished, right? So the task might be, one task is get 360 camera. Right? And then you may need to be lock in cameraman. Camera hot. And then schedule shoot dates. Got it? So that sort of makes sense as to sort of the things that would need to be done and the rest. And again, it seems to be, so this is a trial that I did on Studio Binder. So we may be able to get away with, for the 2 projects anyway, using this trial to walk through this and save it. So I'll save this one to work on. But ultimately, I think what I'd love to do is have you guys think through some of the other pieces of this, right? Because you got locations here, right? So you know where those are?
This is very cool, and you can share it with people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And look, here's your parking instructions, your parking address, set address, location name. So as an example, and then LA Zoo. And you can get there. It's physically cool to be able to go there, or do you need to, okay. And then so this would have an address.
Yeah, the address would be 4801 Griffith Park Drive, Los Angeles, California.
Yep.
90027.
Boom. There you go. And so
It said you can do one project, everything.
yeah. So we'll use this, to get. All right. So we just created first shot location. Right. So I think the goal would be to come up with the things that fill this out, sort of between now and next week, right? In terms of the calendar. But we can take some time now, absolutely, to go through this while we go to a little break. So we'll come back to give you guys some time to walk through it. I'm going to see if I can grab Johnny and see if we could also get him to talk a little bit about the shoot that he's doing out there and maybe show you guys what he's doing for the live setup here. Sound good? Yes, sir.
In terms during the break, I wanted to go over a couple of field trip opportunities as well as assignments for people who want to be part of an editorial capture crew. So I sent you an email. Maybe we can bring up those opportunities. There should be some links inside of the email.
Oh, okay.
And the first one starts with May 9th at UCLA. Jay Tucker's doing next.
This?
Okay, that's not actually the second email. See if we can find the second one.
That's the one I had.
Sure. Uh-oh, okay. See if you can pull it through.
No. But I can, what's it called, Next Fest?
Yeah.
UCLA?
UCLA Next Fest.
Okay.
What I sent was the Eventbrite. There's free registration for time being. It's on a first come, first served basis. So I wanted to make sure anybody that wants to go can register.
This one?
No, I think it's go down to the fourth one.
This right here?
No, next one. They're right there. So if you're online, if you can get there, you register for free. And
here, I'm going to put that link.
Literally, it's a must-see in terms of just figuring out where future things are going. Elon Musk is one of the keynotes, so SpaceX and Tesla will be represented. But it's kind of one of those deals where Jay's given us an opportunity to interview people. So if we have anybody who wants to shoot, interview, capture something, we're going to try and see if we can get a way to assign folks to an opportunity to schedule an interview while the people maybe have some time, either in a green room or off to the side. Okay. See if you can go back to your email, because there's a couple of others.
No, this is on there.
All right, go back. All right, so next one, see if you can find Urban Tech Connector.
Urban Tech Connector.
Is that UTC that?
So all of these events will, essentially, these are all events where I'm looking for
right here.
A group of people. Yeah, those are the it's the Eventbrite. So there is a place where you go to connect with student registration, and that's not it. But that's just the event. I'll send everybody the.
Yeah, I don't think I got that.
You got that?
That one.
Okay.
I did next.
Okay. So UTC May 17th, that's a Thursday. If you can go back to Google Actually, it probably doesn't have a link. You can scroll down and see if there's a link to the actual UTC site.
Okay, give me a second. What day is that of the week?
That's May 17th, that's a Thursday.
Thursday, May
It
17th.
goes from 9 to 4. Mayor Garcetti will be there, several county supported supervisors, folks from Tesla Foundation, and it's literally giving kind of a smorgasbord of things that are kind of tech creative.
And you're looking for a link to what?
Yeah, I don't think it's there. I don't see the link. That's the program. Oh,
This?
that's the event, right? Just see if you can go to. Go to plugin.
I'm sorry.
Down the plugin
Right.
south and see if that brings up the actual. If you just go to urbantechconnector.com, let's see if that in your browser bring up the actual site. And the reason I'm actually encouraging you guys to go to these kind of events because they're great networking opportunities. Aside from just trying to do a student, kind of here I am and how do I get in the industry? It really gives you guys a chance to level that you can engage and exchange energy, get business cards from these people. And again, there's a couple of key people that will be here. And I'm setting up interviews for Mayor Garcetti, who has a internship program. It was just for high school students, but now they've expanded it to community college students. And they have, basically every production company, every studio, everybody that is in Los Angeles County or LA proper is connected to the internship program. These are paid internship programs. So this is a really good networking opportunity, but we're definitely looking for people to go to the next level to try and be part of the editorial crew. So that's May 17th. Again, if you can put up Digital Hollywood again, they've made some new additions to their speaker panel. So I want to assign a team of people. I'm putting together kind of a production team, and it's comprised of students from other community colleges and high schools. And I'm going to get everybody that signs up, I'm going to give them a press credential, but we'll be planning on covering each one of these activities. Some people won't be able to make one of the dates. They're all weekday events, starting in the morning all the way to the evening. So when we get all the opportunities up there, I'm going to look for people to scan the 2-day events, or the 3-day event, which is Digital Hollywood, to see what day you can actually participate. And then I'm going to hold you guys accountable for signing up for a date that you can be available, and then we can start assigning you guys tasks to help out. In some areas it will be video production, some areas will be helping Digital Hollywood with internship programs. They normally don't put people in positions to fail, but at some point they may try people based on their interests and their resumes. So if you're interested in networking, you definitely want to be working with their operations department, where all the press, all the VIPs come for information, and all the hostesses, because those are the people that I wouldn't give this an opportunity for you guys to kind of do an interview with these people, or even kind of hey, how can I get in? But it's good to just be able to be helpful. They may ask you who you are, and And then last but not least, again for AT&T Shape. Anybody registered and signed up for that? They just announced. Yeah, so they just announced their new speakers, Angela Duvernay, Issa Rae, and a couple of other, I think Robert De Niro is going to be there. So it's kind of, important you guys sign up if you're interested, because I don't know when those free passes are going to go away. Gone, they're gone. That's June 2nd and June 3rd. Now the opportunity there is not just to get a free pass, but to also be part of an editorial crew that gets interviews with these people. we've really been involved with AT&T's long game, which is to try and get involved with job training and placement. They just made a pledge that they're going to lower the barriers for students in this program. As long as I can get you guys through with some type of certification or badge that Terrence and I'll have to create, you guys will get a chance to interview and get placed at AT&T with some opportunities to get into their internship program as well as some temporary hire. That's why I'm looking for you guys to show up as much as possible, because every time you guys go to one of these events, you can put it on your resume. And if you have a reel, that's going to even create more power to your resume. So
I think one of the things that would be very helpful is, so for the June 1st event, to at least be able to have a sizzle reel. Remember we talked about sizzle reels, a sizzle reel of the coverage from these 3 events. I think that's going to go a long way to show some of the capabilities. I would also love to see anything we could do with maybe 360 video or something in, at one of these events, right? So just think about, incorporation of something that we've talked about, immersively, a little 360 walkthrough or 360 in the room at a particular panel or something of that nature. So think about that. I mean, the show floor of some of these, like Digital Hollywood has an event space where people are exhibiting, right? 360 view of people exhibiting going on might be interesting as something that, broadcast and that you can sort of push out to social media, but to show how that comes together. So, I mean, all of your ideas on what you can do there will also come together to help you individually, and also a way to recap, what you're able to do.
So Terrence, there was an email I sent, the first email. There's this is related to June 1st. Okay. So if you can, click on that first link. Okay, this kind of relates to Terrence's assignment about just coding. This is a program. It's a Bachelor of Science program Santa Monica College is offering. It's a 4-year Bachelor of Science degree in interactive design, interactive coding. It's literally kind of the only course that mixes everything that you can actually do to get yourself ahead of the field and where all this stuff is going, UI, UX. And it's the only course in Southern California. USC, UCLA, Loyola, Pepperdine, or the Cal States don't offer this program. And the only way they were able to administer getting this thing is that there was no other college or the university was offering. So it's a unique opportunity, and they're actually having enrollment for fall that ends in May. So if anybody's interested in submitting yourself for qualification, enrollment ends for fall semester.
And here's your criteria, right? So you just need the associate in graphic design. So I know a bunch of you guys perhaps have the graphic design part, user experience design concentration, GPA 2.8, some graphic design classes, English 2, transferable math. So again, I think a lot of the things that you guys have been taking might prepare some of you for this opportunity.
If you go back to the email, there's a, yeah, okay, go. There is a, this is a very, I think if you can click inside of this, this will describe the differences between these different programs. And in this Santa Monica program, it actually offers all 4.
So it gets into, so just so you guys are aware, UX design, user experience, right? Very much about what we were just talking about in coding, right? What's the user experience? The user experience in that game was up, down. How do you create the variations? Do you make it harder? Do you make it easier? Those kind of things, right? Then you got UI design. UI design is very much about like the UI that we just used for this, right? It's pretty, this is the UI. Pretty awesome, right? The one thing that makes this software interesting for me this has a pretty intuitive UI, right? Seems pretty easy to visualize. There's a lot of ways you could have visualized this. The UI design here, making this very easy, is a big deal. And they pay people a lot to come up with the various designs on how that works. And then information architecture, right? That's how the information is structured, how the content's organized. Very much into the data scenarios, you'll see. And then interaction design, right? Behavior between the systems. So cool animations that made what you see really cool. So an interaction designer, complex tasks that transform things into intuitive, accessible, and easy to use designs. So as you can imagine, this is huge, right? Everybody is trying to figure out how to make their user interfaces more interactive, more intuitive. And then here's the practices in the IXDA world. And I'll also put this up here. But these are jobs that did not exist, what, even maybe 10 years ago?
The caveat here is Santa Monica Community College, they may be involved in the June 1st event in some way of demonstrating where some of the stuff we've been working on and some of the stuff we've been talking about is mapping to career pathways. One of the things that's happened also is Google has created a program for the community colleges to offer up certification in cloud computing. And definitely we want to be able to figure out what that means, as well as Netflix. Netflix has offered up a way to kind of look at diving into their culture and mapping your skill set to the culture for which they're looking for, not just requirements for all the courses you take, but just personality codes. So making a Netflix person available here. And so Terrence and I will talk about it because we may just do, for June 1st, we may do some breakout sessions where we have these people kind of talk about the way ahead to get relations with these different companies. Netflix, Amazon, AT&T on June 1st. If this is a little overwhelming, I understand, but that's what Terrence is here for, to help you guys kind of demystify what we're talking about. So don't be bashful, because this is, you guys are now really entering into the world of, you guys are entering into a world where very few people are actually talking about it in an academic environment like this. This is such next level that, you know, you guys, if you grasp any parts of this, especially the glossary of terms, when you start talking to people at some of these events and activities that we're talking about, you will separate yourself from everybody else that's a student or even someone that's just getting into the workforce. So this is dangerous, you know, lingo. Dangerous really for your competition.
Any questions on some of the differences, UX, UI, IA, IXD, any of the things that are out there?
I mean, I've read it and I'm telling you, this is tough. This is tough. This is really the secret sauce of your resume. Because even if you don't really, you're not proficient in this, just knowing it. Just knowing it. Yeah. I guarantee you, none of the professors, none of the instructors, you know, they're getting involved with bits and, you know, bites of this, but nobody's really getting a real grasp of how to take this to the next level of academia. When you get a BS in this, like, you know, everybody's here is more creative. So we think about a BA. If you get a BS in this, we're going to take a couple of courses in this program. And
you can't take any courses unless you're accepted in.
Right. But I think one of the things we have to be able to do is kind of look at the program, the Bachelor of Science program, and figure out what the barriers to entry are. So obviously we have the qualifications.
Well, and look, right here, this is what they're really talking about, because nobody has, you know, too much there. I mean, the two things to think about that make this exciting, right? Look at the timeline. First annual conference was held in 2008, right? The Interaction Design Awards was just launched in 2010. And so IXDA partnered with the Gates Foundation for a student design challenge, right, in 2014. So they're still signing collaboration agreements in places around the world. They're still trying to get support. You know, basically they're still building up local groups. What that means is, just like you find the VR workshop, like VRLA, there's small groups of people who get together all the time and study nothing but this. But this is how you build a career, not just get a job, right? When you're in a career, you have lingo, you have terms, you have things that are really unique to your career, that if you're able to go to someone and say, hey, I'm working on, you know, IXDA, right? I'm working on interaction design. Somebody who knows what's going on is going to be like, okay, that's pretty unique. I haven't heard anybody else say that. You might hear UI UX. And again, even people who use UI UX and understand the difference between UI UX, right? User interface, user experience, very different, right? You guys understand the difference between a user interface and a user experience? So somebody give me an example of what you consider to be a user interface. Okay. Yeah.
Terrence, I'm going to get real. I'm going to create a kind of quiz so that at the end, if anybody can pass this quiz, they'll get the certification that Terrence and I think are going to cook up. And this certification, or this badge rather, will be something that we're going to leverage in our conversation with these corporations. So, you know, again, hopefully we'll get these questions and you guys can kind of study them a little bit, because if you guys can get at least this badge, it will say that you're ready for the next level of engagement in this world. So it's important that you guys kind of just study it a little bit on your off time, because at some point we're going to introduce this and get ready for a way to make sure you guys are badged or certified.
Yeah.
This will all be in our emails.
Oh yeah, and this is all added to here now too. So all of those links are all right here.
And really the goal is with Santa Monica College, because of trying to work a deal, we may be able to have folks in the summer. There's a summer bridge program where they're going to be doing events and activities that may allow us to kind of look into their courses for the program. So that's kind of what I was thinking of, is how people can actually look in without having been accepted to the program and look at the courses, the courseware. So during the summer, that's what I'm looking for beyond June 1st, is to have a way for you guys to look in.
Yeah, and I think here, we'll do this quick video while I go try to find Johnny, but to give you a general idea.
He's out there setting up right now.
Is he? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm gonna go talk to him real quick.
We can look at this some other time.
Well, no, I'm walking. No, I mean, you can take a look at this and then take a break. And I'll talk to you.
Human-centered. Exciting. Engaging. غير متوقع, unexpected. Interaction design is a way to make people happy. We use digital services all the time, and if we get it right, that's great.
Interaction design is common ground for design sectors,
focusing on services, strategy, user experience,
Products and much more.
Is a competence that involves the understanding of humans as users and the understanding of technology as a platform to transmit value and usage to different services and other environments.
Imagine this is our interface. There are many ways to interact with it. It may be touchable or visual, but not necessarily. It may be liquid or even invisible. The main thing is that interaction design is all about the way we feel.
How you can make the end user smile after using a service or a product is how an interaction designer has done a good job or not.
Interaction design for us is
Creating meaningful experiences.
put the user's needs first.
And bridges the gap between products and people.
It's a lot of fun. It's holistic. It's culmination of my experience as a designer. And I don't know where we're going to go next.
Interaction design is about shaping people's habits and daily lives. That's why we need strong community that can advance professional and ethical standards.
It's bigger than just user interface design. It's maybe a little bit smaller than customer experience. Interaction design is growing wireframes.
Interaction design is about empowering people.
Interaction design is really about creating relationships, ones with mutual understanding and hopefully empathy between people, technology, and the environments that we're all a part of.
Interaction design is passion for creating great experience for the user.
Interaction design is arranging logic.
Interaction design is like music. It has rhythm, it has structure, it provokes emotions, creates stories. We love interaction design.
So I think it's about that.
So I have a question. Is there anybody that would like to intern, a paid internship working on the June 1st event? Because I'm going to need some help between the lines planning this event from a student perspective. We're probably going to offer about $12 an hour, but will be at least a minimum of $40 an hour, $40 for the assignment. And we'll probably have that available May 4th. Would be the date that I think I'll activate the internship. So if anybody is interested, just respond to Terrence. June 1st event will be a culmination of everything that we can actually showcase, but also be an event that will help my business for the second phase of this program, which will start this summer. So I'm going to try and go from June 1st to a summer program, a summer bridge, and then into fall to phase 3. That's when I'm going to hopefully build a better relationship with all my corporate sponsors, so we can get a lot more of this stuff structured. My goal is really to take this internship to help me make the event as high production value as possible, but also I need to have as many students as part of the face of it. Because if you guys can actually learn how to plan and produce an event that's not only by you, but for you, it's going to really showcase our ability to take this experience and make it something less academic, more real world.
With the internship, aren't we gonna already be there though, like shooting?
You will be, but I'm gonna need some help in very specific areas. And we'll require you guys to meet on other days than Friday. We'll be planning a lot of everything, the different venues, and sometimes we'll just be online. But I'm working with 3 other community colleges. So I'll put some information about the requirements for the internship.
I noticed we're about to leave a bit early today and the rest, so take a 10 or 15 minute break. Johnny said he'll be ready. We talked to him out there for the last like 30 minutes before and then 2. We'll wrap out there with him.
I met Mark Fisher. He's the CEO of Dogtown Media. He said he was the one that developed the curriculum for the SMC program.
Uh-huh.
He spoke at Expert Dojo in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
He seems like somebody who would speak here.
Okay, great. What's his name? Mark Fisher?
Mark Fisher.
Yeah, we'll reach out to him.
Yeah.
I would love that.
He's the CEO of Dogtown Media. Nice guy.
That's awesome.
I mean, he told me that he did the curriculum. Who knows if he did, but I'm just
We'll
saying.
find out, right?
Well, the guy that's actually instructed